Hello, welcome to Virtual Beach video tutorial series. My name is Elizabeth and I will be leading you through an introduction to using the online data service EnDDaT to download data to use in Virtual Beach. I will use Watercraft Beach in Milwaukee, Wisconsin as an example. By the end of this video, you should be able to locate your beach and select relevant data to download, apply basic transformations to selected data, download data in different formats and time zones, and download data for specific discontinuous dates and times using a filter file. I will not cover setting an EnDDaT data source within Virtual Beach in this video. Step-by-step instruction for this and other Virtual Beach training can be found here at virtualbeach.org under Training. Let's start with a quick overview of EnDDaT itself. EnDDaT stands for Environmental Data Discovery and Transformation. It is an online service supported by the USGS that allows you to aggregate publicly available data from multiple sources and process the data through a single online location. Developers of Virtual Beach and EnDDaT have made it so that you can directly import real-time data from EnDDaT into Virtual Beach. The user interface for EnDDaT was updated in February 2017 and includes greater flexibility for selecting data from multiple locations and from multiple data sources at once. Currently, most data sources in EnDDaT are limited to the Great Lakes region. Okay, let's get started. Click on Begin Data Discovery. Notice the panel on the left side of the screen. You can think of this as your workflow. Notice that Choose Data and Process Data are inactive. These panels will become active once you specify your project site or area of interest and select your first data point. Begin by clicking here on the box to select project location by point and radius. You can pan and zoom on the map or enter the lat long for the location here. A nice feature of this map is the public beaches layer. This labels all the public beaches in the Great Lakes region and can make locating your site easier. I'm going to enter the latitude and longitude for Watercraft Beach in Milwaukee. The radius sets the maximum distance away a possible data point can be. Here, we have it set at 2 miles. Once you have set your location pin, click on Choose Data in the left side panel. Click on the drop-down menu and choose the first option. Select from available variables, one site at a time. At the Choose Data screen, there are 3 main panels: Project Location, Data Sources, and Selected Data, which will appear below. To start, click within the Data Sources panel to select data sources. Notice how the available data for each of these sources appears on the map below. Click on the Data Sources symbol in the map below to see the available data at that point. You can set the date range you're interested in to filter out data sources that may not be available. For example, if we look at the map and select the gray square representing an NWIS data source, we can see that this gauging station stopped recording in 1984. If we wanted to make sure that all of the data points shown were for current data, we could set a date range for this month or year. I'm going to select air and water temperature data for my beach using the GLCFS data source and precipitation using the National Precipitation Grid. Notice that when I click on the checkbox next to a variable, it will appear below the Selected Variables panel. I like to think of this as my data shopping cart. These are the selected variables I will eventually download. You can remove any of these variables by clicking on the red X. A few things to note. It's a good idea to record the data point ID so you can refer back to this data source if you ever need to troubleshoot. For the precipitation data, this is a grid location. You will need to know this if you use the Virtual Beach URL Builder, an Excel file created by Adam Mednick that allows you to construct the data request URL from EnDDaT to use in Virtual Beach without having to go through the whole data selection process. Also, if EnDDaT fails to retrieve data from a particular source, this green box here will turn red and indicate the data failure. Once you're satisfied with your variable selection, scroll to the left panel and click on the now active Process Data button. Now we're ready to process and download the data. This page has several options for customizing that process. In the Process Data frame, you can choose to download the raw data, which will be on an hourly basis, or you can choose to apply one of these statistical calculations. For example, I may be interested in the daily high temperature. To get that as a separate column in the output file, I type in 24 under max. Next, you will set the date range for which you want the data. You have two options. The first is to use this calendar feature. With that, you simply select the start and end date, and it will give you all the data available between those two dates on an hourly basis. The second option is to use a filter file, a text file that includes a list of the desired dates and times. It is important that you get the formatting and time zone right, and you can reference the help guide here under Data Processing for specific examples. After uploading, EnDDaT generates a unique ID for this file that goes into building the reusable URL for this data request. A quick warning. Some data sources, such as the GLCFS, have a hard time dealing with data requests for time periods longer than 1 year, so it is good practice to break up multi-year data requests. You do not have to leave this web page to do that. Simply change the dates and click Download below, or use multiple filter files and click Download after each one. Let's take a moment to look at that URL. Note how you can see the time zone and transformations applied written into the URL. Look what happens if I change the output file format and click Show Data Processing URL again. This URL can be saved and used again and again by copying and pasting it into your browser. Finally, you can choose to download the data or show it in the web browser. That's it. For more training videos or questions about Virtual Beach, come visit us at www.virtualbeach.org.